Okay. Awesome. Hello and welcome. And I am also going to share my screen so I get to the correct spot so that we can look at our presentation for today, collection or clutter, and what to do when we realize that it is actually clutter. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts today on this topic. So we'd love to hear from you as well. Where are you joining us from today? And what do you find at home that accumulates? Is it actually like a collection of teapots that you're here to learn about today? Or is it paperwork? What sort of things accumulates that you're juggling at the moment? I'll introduce yourself. Myself, not yourself. I'll introduce myself in a moment. And also we'll use the chat as we are going along. And we may have some additional time at the end. So today we're going to look at tips to declutter and get organized. And we're also going to address our attachment to objects and make it easier to loosen our grip on our stuff. So my business, space and time is all about making conscious choices with how we use our space and our time, and setting up systems to improve our lives by using our space and time in a conscious way. So we're not just doing things because that's the way we've always done it. We're living intentionally and we're doing things now that work for us now and our families. And that particularly in relation to organizing our homes and getting the important things done, and also decluttering as we're talking about today. Looking forward to hearing what you're learning, wanting to learn today. Why did you join us? Because it's handy to know for me to be able to present the right information, but also it's good for you to have an intention, because changes of any sort are easier with a clear intention.
Where's your toy?
And I also
Where's
got
baby? I see him over there. Go get him.
just got a couple of people. If you can just pop yourself on mute, as I can't hear myself talking if somebody else is. Looking at continuing on our decluttering journey after today. We've got a number of free workshops coming up on Thursday mornings here in Melbourne. Each fortnight, we've got a bundle of new ones coming up. And also we have a program that I'd love to delve in with you called Get and Stay Focused 6-week program. It's an online program, would be just you and me working together on your journey to get organized. So I'll share more details about that at the end. So here I am, Julie Cliff, professional organizer and declutter coach. Before starting my business 10 years ago, I was an executive assistant and administrator, so helping people get and stay organized in an office. Found a group of professional organisers here in Melbourne, and I now have a team of girls that work for me. I think we've got 3 or 4 girls out this morning working with people in their homes, married with a couple of teenagers. One's in bed and one's at school at the moment. It's always interesting to know what they're up to when I'm doing these presentations each fortnight. It's a bit weird to tell people what my children are up to, but I often just think, well, where are they? Who's home? But yeah, as they keep me busy and are a big part of my business and how we've been able to continue for the past 10 years. Yeah, don't forget to share in the chat where you're joining us from and what you're looking forward to learning today. So the first question, I've already asked it today: what accumulates at your house? Is it paperwork? Is it receipts, memorabilia or keepsakes? Is it hobby paraphernalia, sports equipment, craft, car or computer parts? Maybe teapots, some special collection that you like, owls, ducks. Is it clothes, linen, kitchenwares or books? I'd love to hear what is it that's accumulating at your home. And I love this little quote down the bottom. It says, I have come to the conclusion that buying craft supplies and actually using them are 2 separate hobbies. And I see this in people's home often. They have enough craft supply in their home to open their own store, but they're so busy managing it and doing other things, that there's very little time to actually do the crafting. So that's what we want to be able to do today. So to get ourselves sorted out, manage our time, and make time for those important tasks like craft, if that's what you're into. So we're talking about collection or clutter today. So let's have a look at what is a collection. Then we'll have a look at what clutter is, and then we'll have a look at a step further from clutter being hoarding tendencies. So the dictionary tells us that a collection is a group of objects or an amount of material accumulated in one location, especially for some purpose or a result of some process. So the idea of a collection is it to be a relaxing activity that counteracts the stress of life while providing a purposeful pursuit and can lead to social collections. So as I said before, you might be collecting teapots, you might be collecting postcards, you might be collecting matchbox cars. And sometimes when we're making those collections, we actually get out and about and interact with other people that have those same pursuits. So it can be very good for us. But the main point of a collection is it's deliberate, it's purposeful, and it's meaningful. How about clutter? How would you describe clutter? Well, clutter is quite different to a collection. It's a group of things that are disorderly or in disarray. They're often physical objects, but also, of course, digital or mental clutter. And it's difficult to find anything or keep in order. And clutter can cause stress and make it harder to focus and be productive, which is almost the opposite of what a collection is supposed to be. We said before a collection should be stress reducing and helps us interact with others, be a social activity. But clutter probably is the opposite. And as I said, we'll have a look at just briefly here in relation to hoarding tendencies, or actually the diagnosed hoarding disorder. A hoarding disorder is ongoing difficulty throwing away or parting with possessions because you believe that you need to save them. You may experience distress at the thought of getting rid of items. You gradually keep or gather a huge amount of items regardless of their value, and that's according to the mayoclinic.org. So as you can see, there's three quite different things we're talking about, whether it's a collection, clutter, and then the next step of hoarding disorder. Hoarding disorder can be diagnosed by a psychiatrist or a mental health psychologist or trained mental health physician. So if you or somebody you know think you might have hoarding tendencies, reach out and talk to somebody about it. And because there are lots of things that you can work through if your hoarding tendencies are getting in your road. But also, if you're just looking for some resources, if you or somebody you know has these sorts of tendencies, I recommend having a look at hoardinghomesolutions.com.au. Hoardinghomesolutions.com.au. They're an Australian group. Two of my friends who run that business, they have been doing that for quite a long time and were professional organisers before that. Close to 20 years they've been doing that. So they have lots of resources there to help you or somebody that you know with their hoarding. But I just wanted to sort of start with that sort of a little bit of a spectrum. I'm not a specialist person that works with hoarding people. I do have a number of hoarding clients, and I was working with one yesterday. And there's all sorts of different levels of hoarding as well. She just couldn't part with particular things like her clothing and paperwork, but we did manage to get rid of a few different bits and pieces, but she kept all of her clothes and kept all of her paperwork. So, and we did have a discussion about that. She hasn't actually been diagnosed, but just from what she was telling me, it is a real thing for her to not be. She just can't give her things away. They just mean way too much for her. And Rosemary, we might get your thoughts on that with your experience as a GP down down the track too, as we're talking about this towards the end of the session. Thanks for coming. So why do we hang on to things? Lots of different reasons that we do. Some of them might be that the object represents memory, love, acceptance, or happiness. Or maybe it's to do with the endowment effect. We place extra value on an object because it's ours and because we've owned it. And we'll also look at ways a bit later in the session how we can loosen our grip on our stuff and separate our memories from the object a bit later in the presentation. But also there may be the excuse of I might use it one day. That might be a reason why people hang on to things. But with that excuse, I might use it one day, you know, what if you end up hanging on to that item for 40 years and it never gets used? Talking about a particular Lego collection I know of, or maybe a calendar from 1992 that it's such a nice piece of cardboard, we can't get rid of it. I think I told this story recently that one of my clients had this calendar from 1992, but it was such a beautiful piece of cardboard. She didn't want to get rid of it. By the end of quite a few sessions when we were decluttering her home to move home, she did let go of that piece of cardboard. She thought, well, if she hadn't used it in 30 years, she could probably let go of it. But, you know, I might use it one day. But also, we will have a look further on how we can let go of items we no longer need, how we can decide what to keep and what to let go, where we can let go of the stuff, and sources of help with this process. And we'll have a look at that a bit further in the session. Let me have a look at the chat before we go too much further. My computer's a bit slow this morning. We are. Hello, Mary. Thank you for joining us from Ireland. She says, clothes, I have enough for 3 lifetimes. That sounds like fun, Mary. Sounds like a fun thing to get our teeth stuck into. Alice says, coming from Virginia, thank you. Need to organise photos and souvenirs. Fantastic. Excellent. And there's one more. Here we go. Jade says you can reuse calendars every few years. The same date layout repeats. You are right, Jade. Very good point on that. And I can't think of any reason why you couldn't. So good suggestion that if we do hang on to them for long enough, they will be useful again. Thanks for your participation. All right, so let's have a look at how we can help us on our decluttering journey as well. If you need some help after this session today, of course, you can reach out to friends and family. But making sure that they're the right people to be able to help you along with your decluttering and organizing journey. Ask me for some help. Would love to have a chat to you on Zoom about how you can sort of plan your decluttering journey, or perhaps ask another professional organizer that's closer to you, because I know you are all joining us from all over the world today. And one point I should have put on there is if, like I mentioned before, if you or somebody you know, if you think they have hoarding tendencies, ask for some other professional help as well to help you on your journey. So we are going to have a look at how to tackle the clutter using the space and time organizing system. If you've been with us before, you would know this system, but it never hurts to hear it again. And we're going to be thinking about those collections and that clutter as we're going through the 6 steps of the organizing system today. So we'll start at stopping more things from coming in. Second step is your commitment to being organized. Third step, sort the stuff. Fourth step, things you no longer need. Fifth step is easy storage for the stuff, and then we'll look at maintenance tips. So how can we think about stopping more things from coming in? Well, a good question to ask before that is, what's the big deal of having too much stuff? What, you know, too many things in your collection or too much clutter? Well, having too much stuff is often overwhelming. There's more to clean, there's more to organize, there's more to manage, and it's often overstimulating, sort of, you know, everywhere you're looking, there's either something to do or something you should have done or something needs mending, or, you know, too many things on flat surfaces can just, you know, almost paralyze you because there's so much to do. But also stuff gets in the way of our productivity, gets in the way of our relationships sometimes, particularly if you're sharing out your home with somebody else. And it gets in the way of our focus and our contentment, just to name a few of why having too much stuff is a big deal for us. So it is really quite difficult to make any progress on your backlog of clutter, or to help you organize your collection. Maybe it's your clothes that you have, the paperwork that you have. If you've still got more coming in the front door, if you're still buying more, if people are still giving you more, it's really difficult to be able to keep your head above the water. So we really want to be mindful about what you're bringing into the home and what you can let go. So we really want to stop it and be mindful. We can't stop buying things altogether, I suppose, but really be, you know, curating what we are bringing into the home. So we can stop the stuff by, instead of giving our kids or our grandkids or nieces, nephews, whoever we're giving items to for Christmas and birthdays and those sorts of things, instead of giving them toys, we can give them vouchers or experiences, like go on a hot air balloon or go to the zoo or go to the park and have a run around. Or we can donate on their behalf, you know, to World Vision or someone like that. So rather than just more bits of plastic, we can stop more stuff from coming in by giving less toys. Wardrobes. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back again. I was thinking something else when we were talking about giving away things. I gave a presentation here locally in person on the weekend, and this lady was saying that she'd given her collection of trophies to her, I think it was nephew, because her nephew was really into trophies and was collecting them. And I just thought, oh, that the poor mum of that boy that was collecting the trophies, that would be quite interesting. Good on him. If the family was right into it and they wanted those trophies, that's awesome. But I was just thinking of more toys around the house, or more trophies, more things to trip over. That could have been quite an interesting experience there. But so just being really mindful of what we're giving to other people as well in their homes. Sorry, getting back to the wardrobe. So that we can tackle our 3 lifetimes of clothing that one of our participants was just talking about before. Let's stop bringing more in. Be really deliberate about what we buy. You know, just try it on, take a friend, get their opinion, making sure it's fit for purpose. And, you know, really resist the sales. You know, just because it's buy one, get one free, you don't need 2 jackets probably. So just being very deliberate about what we're bringing into our wardrobe. How about when you go shopping? Doesn't matter if it's grocery shopping, you're going to the supermarket, you're going to the local hardware store to get something. Take a shopping list with you. Write down the exact things that you need and stick to that. Because again, we can be tricked into all these special sales, and we can also be tricked in by all the latest gadget that will help you clean your toilet quickly or whatever it might be. So take a list to help you stop more stuff from coming in. How about paperwork? Stop more paperwork from coming in by unsubscribing to magazines and things that you're not reading. Or, you know, definitely make the time to sit down and read them if you would like to. So reducing more paperwork from coming in. And this might be around your collection of things that you have as well, around the things that you have at home. Just, again, being mindful of what you keep as far as manuals or instructions. Just trying to think of those other sort of bits of paper that we're bringing into the home, being really deliberate about what we bring into the home in the first place. And if somebody's trying to give you something for free, you can just say, no, thanks. Don't really even need to give an explanation. Walking down the street, somebody wants to give you some hand cream to try, or you're at an expo and they're trying to give away all their freebies. Don't take them home, because they'll obviously they often just sort of sit there unused when you take home things that you did not pay for. And how about keepsakes and memorabilia as well? Looking at the idea of you not being the collector of family heirlooms. Sometimes you may be the only option. You might be the last in your line, or you might be the only one interested. But what I'm trying to say is here, don't feel obligated that you have to be the family heirloom collector. Again, as I said, if you're enjoying it and you want to do it, and you want to get into all the, ancestry.com and all the things that go with it, you knock yourself out. But if it's a burden, if it's too heavy, ask somebody else to be the collector of those things, or curate what you're actually bringing in. I always give the example of, rather than keep grandma's whole dinner set that she had, just keeping one set. Or it might even be a teacup and a saucer, something like that. Just curating what we're keeping, rather than keeping absolutely everything with keepsakes and memorabilia. So what technique will you use to stop more stuff from coming into your house? Because, as I said, it's really difficult to tackle the backlog of stuff that you have in your home if there's still more things from coming in the front door. And if you do all this great work of decluttering, and then before you know it, you're back to square one, because we haven't changed our buying behaviors, and our behaviors are bringing things into the home. Excuse me. Right, let's look at step number 2, your commitment to being organized. So unfortunately, there is no magic wand for getting organized. We've got lots of tips here today, and my clients find them all really helpful, particularly all of these 6 steps we're talking about today. But being organized takes time, commitment, and focus, and persistence for it to really be able to take effect. Just like any new habit, we need to put some time in the diary to work on it. And we need to have it as our focus. We can't just go, oh yeah, I'm going to be organized, and not even give it another thought. It doesn't magically happen. We need to be able to change our behaviors, put some time in the diary for these things to become helpful to you, and for us to change our behavior over time. And at this point, let's not worry about your wife or your husband or the kids right now. Let's get you sorted out. And then hopefully, if you do have people living in your home with you, hopefully by osmosis, that will rub off, and others will be inspired to get organized like you. But we can't be, throwing stones in glass houses and be expecting other people around us to be organized and their bedrooms to be spick and span or whatever, if we're not organized ourselves. So let's focus on us today. So being organized, as I said, is really putting some focus on it, putting some time in the diary to work on it. And this can be, just 10 minutes a day. My clients tell me 10 minutes a couple of times a day is a great way to really make some headway and do it consistently. Or you might put 30 minutes a couple of times a week in the diary, or maybe a couple of hours on a weekend. But it's really good to have a start and an end time as well, so that your brain knows, okay, we're going to focus on this. This is my main focus for now. It's not going to be forever. We're not going to be working on this project for, from now until Wednesday next week. We know the start and end time, and that's really helpful for managing your energy and keeping up your motivation while we're doing our decluttering and anything that we're trying to change, any of these new habits and behaviors. And what I'm talking about here is literally putting it in your diary. So put it in your electronic calendar or your paper calendar, however you want to do, set a reminder so that you know that it's coming up, and stick to that commitment, and stick to the commitment just as though you would a doctor's appointment or a cuppa with a girlfriend. This is your time. You are very important. This is very important to you. We need to put it in the diary. Otherwise, it'll just go, I don't feel like cleaning out the kitchen cabinet today. I think I might wash the back lawn, or, you know, paint the cat today instead. We'll come up with any excuse other than what we're doing. We really want to stick to that commitment. So what commitment are you going to make to yourself today? And what time of the day, what time of the week? Will it be 10 minutes? Will it be 20 minutes? What time are you going to put in the diary for you to show your commitment to being organized? Okay, moving on to step 3, sort the stuff. So this is a physical, let's just put the like items together. So if we're looking at clothing, that you know, 3 lifetimes of clothing, we might just grab one category. It might be socks. We might start something easy like socks and just start to sort out our socks, and so we can see what we've got. The same as these kitchen utensils here. These are all of my bits and pieces from my kitchen utensils drawer. From that big blob on the left there, you would never know that I have 7 vegetable peelers. So doing this sorting step can really help our brain. We're not deciding what we're keeping and what we're letting go just yet. It just helps us see what we've actually got. And it's really a helpful step. And it's amazing how a natural flow sort of starts. If you're looking in a junk drawer, you're looking in a top kitchen drawer, or you're open the cupboard, you've got too many mugs, excuse me, cups, teacups, or coffee mugs, too many of them. But if you start to set them out in their sets, then we can have a bit of a look of what we've got. So we'll just start small at this stage. Yeah, so just looking at something small, 1 box, 1 drawer, 1 shelf, and just putting the like items together. It just really gives us a good idea of what we've got, and then we can make some decisions from there. So how do we go about that? So if we're in the kitchen, we might put all the small appliances together, or we put the baking equipment together. We put wooden spoons together. I just did a kitchen on earlier in the week. What day was it? Monday, I think. And we set up a baking drawer for my client's daughter. She would like to do some more baking. So I thought, well, let's just set up this drawer right here. So we emptied out 1 drawer that was going to be the baking drawer, and then we sort of just grabbed all the bits from around the kitchen and put it in that drawer. So that was a good way for us to do the sorting. And then by the time we got everything in there, we could see, well, we've got too many sets of measuring cups, and we had too many bowls. So when we had sorted it all in the one spot and put all the like items together, we could decide what to keep and what to let go from there. So we would just continue through the house with this sorting step. But you would sort one category and then move on to the decluttering, etc. And then you would get to another category, do the sorting, decluttering, etc. So, but sorting, it's a real no-brainer. It sounds obvious, but my clients find it really helpful. What else we're sorting during the week? Like electrical cords from computer bits and pieces. So we put all of those same cords together to see what we've got. And we go, yeah, that's a reasonable amount of that type of cord. Or, oh, actually, we've only got 1 iPhone charging cord. So we might even actually need to buy another one rather than decluttering. But this sorting step is a really good way to get going when sometimes it really seems overwhelming. but the sorting is a really good first spot to start. So let's look at step 4, things you no longer need. Just realized the sun has disappeared. I'm in the dark a bit. Things you no longer need. So now that we've got things sorted, that's going to help us make some of these decisions here about what to keep and what to let go. And we want to be able to let go of the items that we no longer need, meaning what's not suiting you and adding to your current life. Absolutely, we can hang on to some things from the past. It is important to be connected to our past, whether it's our past selves or past friends, past experiences, past family members. But overall, I would love you to be thinking about your decluttering to set you up to support your life right now. You might have been an Olympic high jumper in your previous life. That's awesome, but you probably don't need your high jumping gear right in your living room right now. Or you might have been, a ballerina, or you might have been doing all of these things in your past lives. But what I want us to be thinking about today is, how does my current life look, and how do I want to live my life now? And that will help us let some of these things go a bit easier, particularly if we're looking at a collection of stuff. Maybe your owl collection was something that you did when you were younger and you really enjoyed it at the time, but it's not such a big part of your life now. You might just keep 1 or 2. And that's, I hadn't even thought of the story now, but I had a big collection of fairies, like figurine porcelain fairies at one stage. But I've actually, in the last couple of years, let them go. I put them on a local buy, swap and sell group, and somebody collected them. But I just kept 2 of the most beautiful ones. And when I was looking through them, actually, it was quite easy to decide which ones to keep and which ones to let go, because some of those fairies were a little bit ugly and a little bit scary, to tell you the truth. So that was quite an easy process. But I just kept a couple of those beautiful fairies. And I've got one on my bedside table and one sort of where my jewellery is. But the rest I've let them go because they were sitting in a box for a long time, but somebody else is probably using them, a young person, and enjoying them. So thinking about your life right now and letting go of items we no longer need. The second point says donate. We've got a big long donations list on our website, which is very relevant to us here in Melbourne, but it might give you some ideas on what you could look up close to home. So if you've got some x-rays you want to get rid of, that's to recycle rather than to donate, you could still look at our list. We'll send you the link for that, and give you some ideas on where you might be able to donate stuff at home, because gee, it feels good when you know your stuff is going somewhere and somebody's going to use it. The third point there says let go if you have multiple. If I was in a smaller kitchen, some of those vegetable peelers might have to go because they might not fit in a smaller space. They are perfectly fine where they are in my kitchen at the moment, but letting go if you have multiple is a good one. You might have a look, you might have too many pairs of jeans, so you might look at the different styles of them and see which ones fit you, which ones fit your shape now, which are a little bit too skinny and not so good for you and your figure now. Fashions change all the time as well. So letting go if you have multiple might be a good place to start as well. And when we're letting go of some of these things, particularly some of these sentimental items, highly recommend the idea of taking a photo or making a video of it, just so that you can still look back at it. No, you can't physically hang on to the item anymore, but just looking at it and knowing you've got that photo there or a video about it, yourself telling a story about the item or the person that it used to belong to, can be a really great way to cherish those memories. And you could put it in a photo book, something like that. But your memories won't vanish when you let go of the item. But this is an extra special and safe way to keep those memories as well, by taking a photo or a video. Those last couple of points says maybe you could just let it go and borrow it again or buy it secondhand if you ever needed it again. I'm more of a there is no plan B type person. I'll just let it go and figure it out if I need to down the track. And I don't think I've ever had to go and find something again that I've got rid of. Or maybe you can let it go and make do without it or use something else instead. You might have something else around the house that will work just as perfectly if you let it go and you decide you want it again. This is our kitchen wall about 15 years ago. Yes, that would be right. When our two kids were small, doing lots of artwork at kinder, daycare, even at home. So I would take photos of the kids as well in front of their artwork, which is a great thing to do, and their different artwork they bring home, and then we would recycle it. So there's similar sorts of things of taking a photo of these sentimental and special items, because otherwise, and I have seen it in people's homes, you know, keeping everything that their kids or their grandkids have ever made, and nobody ever looks at it. It just stays in a big box in the garage or something, just taking up valuable space that something else could be there for. So highly recommend taking photos for that reason. And yes, digital clutter is a thing. And we can end up with too many photos, but at least we're not tripping over them, and at least they're not taking up too much physical space. So last few things on this point of things you no longer need. So when was the last time that you used the item? These are some questions you can ask yourself to decide if you want to keep it or let it go. Was it 6 months ago? Was it 12 months ago? Was it years? You can put some boundaries on things. Some of my clients give themselves a 12-month boundary, and if they don't use it in that time, it'll be gone. Others, it might be a bit longer. Some are very ruthless and they'll get rid of it after 6 months if they haven't used it. How about your clothes? When you're going through them, ask yourself, does it fit well? Is it the correct size? Is it stained or damaged? You know, being very honest with yourself about these items. And a good one to ask yourself as well, do you like it? Or does it give you bad feelings when you look at the item? It might be a tiny little dress that you wore at your engagement party or something like that, and it just gives you bad vibes every time you look at it. For your own mental health, let it go. Somebody else would love that item. So just being very mindful of how our items make us feel as well, and don't feel obligated to hang on to things because you owned it, because of that endowment factor. And do you use the item on a regular basis? Not to say that you need to get rid of the Christmas tree because we only use it every 12 months, but thinking about other items in your home and the valuable real estate that it is taking up. So what are some other questions you might ask yourself in relation to what you're going to keep and what you're going to let go? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Pop them in the chat. Let us know what rules you have as well. Do you have like a one in, one out rule? So you go and buy a new pair of shoes and an older pair of shoes needs to go. Do you have some of those rules that helps you decide how to get rid of items you no longer need? Up to the 5th step, easy storage for your stuff. Now, there's a few things about storage. It's deliberately called easy because it has to be easy or you won't do it. It's deliberately called easy, otherwise it wouldn't fit into the word system, S-Y-S-T-E-M. You know, storage didn't fit into that word. But more importantly, it does have to be easy. It's all about creating easy, permanent homes for your item so that you know exactly where it is when you want to go and get it. You know exactly where you need to put it away. And of course, we can use boxes and containers and labels, all of those sorts of things to make it easy for your family or any outside help that you have coming in as well. Many of my clients have support services coming in whether it's like a Meals on Wheels or food preparation or cleaners. So we want to make our homes as easy as possible for storage and knowing where those permanent homes are for ourselves, but of course thinking about other people as well that are coming into the home. So just a few ideas here, because there are a billion of them online on how to organize things, and you can easily Google like storage ideas for deep pantry shelves or storage ideas for small bathrooms. But here are a few great things that we can do just to help us get a little more organized at home and create permanent homes for our stuff. On the left is just a little Perspex container. You could use a cardboard box as well, just to keep small items together. So it might be lunch box items, it might be just items that are small, and rather than sort of slither around on the pantry shelves, I've got a permanent home to be put into. And then on the right, these are some rolling drawer tubs, so that you don't have to put your head in the cupboard to get things. You can just use it like a drawer and slide the items in and out. And then you can use containers or a box in the bottom of a drawer to keep items together. This is my drawer here that keeps our ice cream making machine pieces together and our NutriBullet bits and pieces. And then you can get down to the, the minutiae, the tiny little bits and pieces like in a drawer. You can, depending on how much time and effort you want to put into these things, you can absolutely go to this sort of effort to organize your things. Then we can have matching containers. This is Tupperware. You might like glass jars, you might like recycled. But with this one is more the point that it's, which is my pantry, is having similar items so that it looks neat and tidy. It's not perfect, it's not Instagram worthy, but it's they are all matching, and there's no bits and pieces hanging out like this. I only buy 1 kilo of flour at the time because it just fits into the little container. I just put it straight in. So it's not as though you're tipping a big flour into that container and then left with a bit at the end of the packet. I really try and just have the right size container for the things that we eat frequently and then just buy. Although in this picture, which was a while ago, my husband bought a big bag of 10 kilo of rice, I think. So we had rice coming out of our ears, but normally have just a smaller container for that. But this is to suit you, making it nice and easy for you and your family. This is another client that I did a while ago. Again, these little Perspex containers. These ones are from Kmart. They're called pantry drawer with handle. They're one of my favorite things to use in a pantry. They don't always suit, but these are a great option. And she'd opted to label the actual shelf rather than label the tub. So up to you how you want to do that. Here is a collection of the photos that we were talking about, taking a photo of your special artwork or your special mementos or your keepsakes and memorabilia, and then you can have it printed out into a nice book here through different places like Snapfish or Vistaprint, and get them printed out. Or maybe you just want to store your photos in a very simple way. It might be the 1980s in one box. This is just a normal shoe box, but you can certainly buy photo sensitive boxes just to make storage very easy, because otherwise we could be storing and sorting and organizing photos between now and the end of the year and into the next one, depending on how you want to organize your photos. But this is a nice and easy way to at least get some sort of order to them. And storage doesn't have to be beautiful. This is my laundry cupboard. We've been in our home for more than 20 years, and this cupboard has looked pretty well the same as this the whole time. We've just got some beer boxes with labels on them, and there are still extension cords in that box on the right. shoe polish is still there, hooks and glue is there, and these are things that are accessed regularly. And I've just never really bothered to go and find another container because these ones work well. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to work for you, make it easy for you and your family. Let me look at the chat before we move on to the next step. Rosemary, thank you. She says, I grew up with use it up, wear it out, make do or do without. I love it. So use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. That's a great saying. Thanks for sharing. Mary says, when I go on holidays, I leave the clothes that I bring there and leave them at a charity shop. I like it. Musically, yes, that's a very nice idea. So you're not bringing more home. You're able to just be able to keep the same amount of stuff and let some things go. Nice idea. Thanks, Mary. All right, let's look at the last step. How are we going? We've got some good amount of time here. Step 6, maintenance tools. So we're talking about maintaining our collection. If we have decided, yes, we do have a collection, hopefully some of those ideas of sorting, decluttering and storage have helped you with your collection, or the same if you've had clutter. Hopefully some of these steps have helped us. And now we're up to the maintenance step. What can we do each and every day to help us stay organized? One of the important things to do is to return items to their permanent homes straight away. So we use the scissors, we put the scissors back. I've got my scissors here. Use the scissors, put them straight back in their little cup where they live. Or you might have, what else is often difficult to find in the house? Your keys, your phone, your mobile, your wallet. Have a permanent home that they live in, and as soon as you walk in the front door, put them there. And so always putting them in their permanent homes as soon as you need to put it down. Don't put it down near the the toilet, because that's where you've gone as soon as you've walked in when you got home from work or from an outing. Go straight to that spot where it lives and put it away straight away. And know yourself as well. I mentioned before about choosing the right time of day or the right time of the week or the right time of the month to suit your energy levels to be able to work on this decluttering, but also for the maintenance as well. So you might actually what I like to do is the whole household, after our dinner, we sit down as many nights of the week as we can as a family, the 2 boys and my husband and I. And as soon as dinner is done, everybody helps to clear up the dishes, stack the dishwasher, wash the dishes that can't go in the dishwasher, clear the dining room table and clear the island bench, put the leftovers away. And in that time as well, my husband is always folding the washing that we've done that day that is dry. So that's going to help me first thing in the morning. That was the long answer to my story of knowing the right time of day. I know that everybody is there helping me and being on board, helping clean up after dinner, something that they can all contribute to the family. But then that helps us the next day as well. When you may be dragging yourself out of bed, it might be 3 degrees, which has been here most of the mornings this week. The last thing you want to do is clear up the dishes from the night before. So these are little things that we can do each and every day to help us stay organized. The last point there says be accountable. So share your decluttering and maintenance journey with a friend and update them frequently on your progress. And I can help you with that as well. I'll share some details in a second about the 6-week Get and Stay Organized program that I was mentioning at the start of the session. I can be your accountability buddy there as well. So little things that we can do every day. And also remind yourself, so diarize time, as we said, to do the decluttering, or then a bit of maintenance at the end of the day, like we do as a family, to put things away and reset the home. And use your phone and your watch. What have I got here? What have I been reminded? Yeah, can't think. Lots of things have already popped up today, but nothing specifically in the middle of the workshop. But it will say, you know, you've got an appointment in 10 minutes time, or a phone call in 10 minutes, or leave to head off to my client. So I use my phone and my reminders. I don't have millions of them. I don't just want them dinging all the time, because that would be annoying, but just those important things, to use your technology as your mind to remind you to get these important things done. And also you can carry around just a card to remind you of what we are trying to do. So this one here says, my goal is to be able to find anything in the household in 30 seconds or less. Like, do you know where your passport is? Do you know where your birth certificate is? Do you know where those important documents are that you might need to grab in a hurry if there's a fire? So you might just carry a little card around like this that reminds you when it's getting tricky in your decluttering, this is what it's all about. This is my goal. So something easy like that as well to carry around with you, and stay committed to being organized. It's something to do each and every day. All right, so today has been an audit and check-in points for how we use our space and our time, all about making conscious choices about what to keep and what to let go. We sorted the items, we set up the permanent homes, and we spoke about ways that we can continue to do that each and every day. So let's use our stuff to bring us closer to the life that we want to live, rather than too much stuff getting in the way of the life we want to live. So if you are in Melbourne, I would love to come and help you with a 4-hour kickstart session. 4 hours help in your home, with support and motivation, and help you with storage ideas and all those sorts of things. It's $440 including GST. It's a 4-hour hands-on help session. But if you're outside of Melbourne and would like some help to get and stay organized, we can help you make a plan on what you want to organize. Is it your space that you're organizing? It is your time. And you and I would have a one-on-one session over 6 weeks, looking at your specific challenges, help keep you accountable and motivated, and have lots of tips to master your mindset, and also tailor the plan to fast track your journey to get this done. Make getting organized important to you and staying focused on those important things, because sometimes everything seems to be important and there's all these shiny objects, but they're not all important. But we could help you identify those important things and move towards it. The next 3 workshops we got over the next few weeks is digital decluttering. So in 2 weeks' time, we're going to do that. I'll send all these links afterwards. Paperwork decluttering, the same in 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, sorry. And then tackling doom boxes, those ones that we're seen to stash and dash if somebody's coming quickly in a hurry to get organized. That's on the 17th of July. So 3 sessions coming up at the same time on these Thursdays. Thursday for me. Would love to see you at those times. Do we have any questions? Let me stop my sharing. Any feedback? Any thoughts on any of those things? Thanks, Mary Lou, for all of those links you have propped in there. So the link to the 4-hour kickstart package, Get and Stay Focused, and then the workshops are there. We'll email them out as well. Any questions as we wrap up?
Let me just clarify for people what the hoarding disorder is. It's an obsessive compulsive disorder. It's a very clear diagnosis in the DSM-3. And so it has an approach to treating it. It's not just about getting your act together. You know, it really is a concern as a mental illness.
Absolutely.
So just because somebody thinks that you may have it No, it's a strict diagnosis. Okay,
Understand.
so
Yeah.
you just may be overwhelmed.
Yes.
That's very different than having an obsessive compulsive disorder.
Of course. And people are pretty good at labeling others as
Yes.
hoarders, aren't they?
You know, I have a daughter and a son that are minimalists.
Mm.
I have a great number of interests.
Mm.
Plus, I was the one who inherited all the stuff.
Mm.
And, you know, now I'm a very visual person, so I get enormous joy out of all of
Mm.
it.
Mm.
And during the pandemic, I wouldn't have survived if I didn't have my stash.
Mm.
But I was laughing when you were talking about people in collections. So I get on with quilters all the time.
Mm.
They are enormous collectors. They have to have fabric to pet. They may not ever use that piece of fabric, but they love that piece of fabric. They're very interesting culturally in that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was working with a person on the weekend, actually, who has a beautiful fabric stash. It's absolutely stunning, but there's no time to do any actual quilting.
Yeah, exactly, because
But
they're
it looks
always playing with
beautiful.
their stash.
Thanks, Rosemary. I really appreciate your professional opinion there. Anything else you wanted to clarify or?
No, this is very nice. My biggest problem is, unfortunately, I have long COVID because I got COVID at the beginning of 2020, though I'm doing a little better. So I get easily overwhelmed with dealing with stuff, you know, and I don't have a serious problem at all. I realize that I'm actually very organized. You know, like you were talking about emergency stuff. So for example, I made a hanging that hangs on hooks inside of my kitchen cupboard, one lower kitchen cupboard door, that has what I need if there's an emergency. You know, there's a flashlight and all those things that you should have ready at hand. So I don't have to run out and collect them.
Excellent.
They're all hanging there together.
Yeah. Yeah. And having specific reasons to be organized like that is handy, I find, as well. We're not, like I said at the start, we're not just making the house look pretty and for pretty sake. It's, you know, that specific example that you gave us, that's a real practical way to help us get ourselves sorted.
The other one is the other hanging that I made is also the kind of tools that you use all the time. You know, screwdriver,
of course,
that kind of stuff, you know, and that's very useful. Again, I don't have to run around and find the right one. It's very easy to find.
Yeah. Thank you again, and glad to hear you're feeling a bit better or improving with your long COVID. Do you think those shorter 10 minutes here and there might be helpful?
And that's the thing. Get a timer.
Yeah.
It's really having a timer pays off. Not just saying I'm going to do 10 minutes, but actually setting the timer.
I like it. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder on that. That's important to have that start and end time. And you can see the time passing, because sometimes it might feel like it is not.
And then they don't feel guilty, though, in any way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It removes the guilt.
Good. Great to have you. Anybody else got any other questions or comments?
Julie, just to explain again, the doom box. What is that?
A doom box. Rosemary's probably heard this term as well. It's come from the ADHD community of doom box being, oh my gosh, mum's coming around in 10 minutes. I need to clear the kitchen table to have dinner. You throw everything in the doom box and you hide it somewhere. And you often never address that box. It never returns. So we're going to have a look at how we can actually unpack those doom boxes and then come up with how we don't even make a doom box. Let's be able to be a little bit
when I grew up, you know, we had this living room. First of all, I grew up in a house my mother had designed and built for 4 people, and we were 7. Okay, so that, you know, that's an immediate, and 4 of them were boys. So she did have something. She had a wooden box with a lid that you could quickly clean up the living room when a guest was coming. Now, those did get emptied out, though. You had to, but it was a very smart trick.
Clever.
Because otherwise you're constantly on to people to clean up their stuff, and that creates friction.
Absolutely. Yeah. But how clever having that purposeful box, but the key being that it absolutely gets cleared out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Mary, for that question. Any other questions before we wrap up? We're right on time. How perfect. No, all right. Send me an email if you've got any queries, concerns, questions between now and otherwise, hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the next session. Thanks all for coming.
Thank you, Julie,
Thank
for
you.
giving your time. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Take care. Thanks, Rosemary. Bye, Alice. Thanks, Mary. Thank you, Mary Lou.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Jess.